There is an $8 fluid sitting in your vehicle right now that is quietly turning black, filling with metal, and burning itself to death, and almost nobody will ever tell you to change it. Not the dealer, not the quick lube place, and in a lot of cases, not even your owner's manual. And when it finally kills your transmission, the bill is $3,000, sometimes $5,000, and most people just go buy another car. I learned this in a world where you did not get to replace the vehicle. You kept it running, or you walked. And the single biggest difference between a truck that dies at 120,000 miles and one that runs past 400,000 is not the engine, it is not the brand, and it is not luck. It is this fluid, and a word somebody put in your manual in the 1990s that was never true. Stay to the end, because the last thing I'll show you is a 2-minute check you can do in your own driveway tonight that tells you exactly how much life your transmission has left. Let me show you what we're talking about, because most people have genuinely never seen it. Pull the dipstick on a healthy transmission and the fluid on it is bright red, clean, translucent. It looks like cherry syrup. It smells like almost nothing. Now pull it on a transmission that's been ignored for 150,000 miles. That fluid is brown, sometimes black, opaque, and it smells burnt like scorched toast, like something died in there. Rub it between your fingers and you can feel grit. That's the whole story, right there, in 2 dipsticks. Because here's what a transmission actually is. It is not like your engine. Your engine burns fuel and makes power. Your transmission is a box of gears, clutches, and hydraulic passages, and the fluid inside it is doing 4 jobs at once. It lubricates the moving parts, it cools them, it carries the hydraulic pressure that actually makes the thing shift, and it carries friction modifiers that let the clutches grab correctly. That fluid is not an accessory. It is a working component. It's the only part of your transmission you can replace without taking the whole thing apart, and it wears out. How it dies, heat kills it. That's the whole mechanism. Every time you tow, climb a hill, sit and stop and go traffic, or drive hard, that fluid gets hot. Heat does 2 things to it. It breaks down the additives, and it oxidizes the fluid itself. That's what the brown color is, oxidation. That's what the burnt smell is. There's an old rule of thumb in the trade, and while people argue about the exact numbers, the principle is dead accurate. The hotter it runs, the faster it dies, and not gently. Every significant jump in operating temperature roughly halves the fluid's useful life. Run it hot enough for long enough, and fluid that should have lasted 100,000 miles is finished at 30,000. And as it degrades, it stops doing the 4 jobs. It lubricates worse, so the parts wear. It carries pressure worse, so the shifts get lazy and start to slam. It stops cooling properly, so it runs hotter, which degrades it faster. Now you're in a spiral, and all that microscopic metal and clutch material wearing off, it goes into the fluid, and the fluid carries it right back through everything. So now the fluid isn't just failing to protect your transmission, it's actively sandblasting it from the inside. That's why it doesn't fail gradually and then level off. It fails and then it accelerates, the word that cost people billions. So here's the part that will make you angry, and I want to be careful to tell you exactly what's true, and not 1 inch more. Somewhere in the 90s, a phrase started showing up in owners' manuals and at dealership service counters: lifetime fluid. Manufacturers began marking transmissions as filled for life or sealed for life, and quietly removed the recommended fluid change interval from the maintenance schedule entirely. Some transmissions were built without a dipstick at all, so you couldn't easily check it even if you wanted to. Now is that a conspiracy? Let me be straight with you rather than sell you something. There's no secret room where men in suits decided to destroy your transmission. But look at the incentives, because the incentives explain everything. A manufacturer's warranty runs a few years, 60,000 miles, maybe 100,000. Lifetime fluid only has to last as long as the warranty does. It has to survive the period they are financially responsible for. After that, your transmission failing isn't their problem, it's your problem. And a $4,000 repair bill on a 9-year-old vehicle is a very persuasive argument for buying a new one from them. Lifetime is a marketing word, not an engineering word. It means the lifetime they had in mind, not the 300,000 miles you were hoping for. Ask any independent transmission shop what they see. They'll tell you the same thing over and over. Units coming in at 130,000, 150,000 miles, black fluid, burnt smell, clutch material everywhere, on vehicles whose owners were told the fluid never needed changing because that's what the book said. Nobody lied to you, exactly. They just used a word that meant something different than what you thought it meant, and nobody downstream of your service bill had any reason at all to correct you. The part everybody gets wrong: read this before you touch anything. Now I have to tell you the thing most videos on this topic will not. Because it matters more than everything else I've said, and getting it wrong will destroy the transmission you're trying to save. You have probably heard somebody say, "Never change the fluid on a high-mileage transmission, it'll kill it." That belief exists for a real reason. It is half true, and the half that's true will cost you a transmission if you ignore it. Here's what actually happens. When fluid has been neglected for 15,000 plus miles, the clutches inside are already worn thin. That old gritty, degraded fluid has effectively been acting as a crutch. The debris and varnish in it are helping worn-out clutches grab, dump in fresh, slippery, high-detergent fluid, and those worn clutches suddenly can't hold. The transmission starts slipping, it fails within weeks, and people say, "See? The fluid change killed it." It didn't. The damage was already done. The fresh fluid just stopped hiding it. So here's the honest rule, and it depends entirely on where you are right now. If your fluid is still red or light brown and you're under about 100,000 miles, change it. Now, and on schedule, forever. This is the best money you will ever spend on that vehicle. If your fluid is black, smells burnt, you're at 15,000 plus, and it has never been changed, do not just dump in fresh fluid and hope. Go talk to an actual transmission specialist, not a quick lube counter. Often the right move is a gentle drain and fill rather than an aggressive flush. Sometimes the right answer is to leave it alone and start saving. That distinction, knowing when to act, not just what to do, is the difference between a man who has actually done this and a man reading a script off a screen. The interval nobody gives you, so what's the real number? Forget lifetime. The range-independent transmission shops land on and understand. These are people who make money when your transmission dies, and they still tell you this is roughly every 30,000 to 60,000 miles, and where you fall in that range depends on how you actually drive. If you tow anything, sit in daily traffic, drive in hills or mountains, haul weight, or live somewhere hot, you are on the short end, not the long end. Here's the thing almost nobody realizes. Most people assume they're a normal driver, but by the manufacturer's own definition, a huge number of us are in what they call severe service, and severe service has a much shorter interval, buried in the back of the manual where nobody looks. The fluid itself is genuinely cheap, $8 to $12 a quart, a few quarts for a drain and fill. Even paying a shop to do it, it's a rounding error against a $3,000 to $5,000 rebuild. As a return on money spent, there is nothing else in vehicle maintenance that even comes close. One hard warning: use the exact fluid specification your vehicle calls for. Modern transmissions are extraordinarily specific. The friction modifiers are engineered for that exact unit. The wrong spec fluid genuinely causes damage, and Universal Works in everything fluid is a gamble with a $4,000 downside. Look up your spec, use that spec. This is not the place to save $4. Why fleet and military vehicles don't die? Here's the part that ties the whole thing together, and it's why I know this cold. Ask yourself why fleet trucks, the ones that get beaten half to death every day, loaded heavy, idled for hours, driven hard by people who don't own them, routinely run 300,000, 400,000 miles, and your carefully driven personal vehicle, garage kept, gentle, dies at 140,000, it is not because they are built better. Very often it is the exact same vehicle. It's because a fleet runs on a maintenance schedule that ignores the marketing. Fluid gets changed on an interval, by the mile, by the hour, whether or not a book says it's necessary. Nobody in a fleet operation has ever believed in lifetime fluid, not for 1 minute, and the reason is simple, and it is the whole point of this video. A fleet owns the consequence. When your transmission dies, the manufacturer sells another vehicle. When a fleet's transmission dies, the fleet eats the cost. So the people who actually pay for the failure, they never believed the story, not once. That's the secret. It isn't a magic additive. There is no tablet, no bottle, no miracle chemical you pour in and anybody selling you one is selling you nothing at all. It is the boring, unglamorous, unprofitable discipline of replacing a fluid before it turns black. The old rule, and it has never once been wrong. You either pay a little on your schedule or you pay a lot on the transmission schedule. The driveway check. Do this tonight. Here's what I promised you. 2 minutes, no tools, no cost. If your vehicle has a transmission dipstick, do this. Park level. Get the engine up to operating temperature, drive it a bit, leave it running in park unless your manual says otherwise. Then pull the transmission dipstick. It's usually set further back than the oil dipstick, often with a red or a yellow handle. Wipe it on a clean white paper towel or rag, white, not a greasy shop rag. You need to see the color honestly. Now look at it. Bright, translucent red, almost no smell, you're fine. Note the mileage and change it on schedule. Light brown, still see-through, it's aging. Change it soon. You are right in the window where this saves you thousands of dollars. Dark brown or black, opaque, smells burnt, it is badly overdue. And if it's been that way a long time on high mileage, go talk to a transmission specialist before you touch it. This is exactly the situation from earlier where fresh fluid can finish it off. Any glitter, grit, or metal flake on the towel, that is your transmission grinding itself apart. That's a specialist conversation today, not next month. And if your vehicle has no dipstick at all, a lot of newer ones don't, well, that's not an accident either, is it? That one's a conversation with a shop that has the right equipment. But the mileage rule still applies, and the fluid is still dying in there whether you can see it or not. That's it, $8 a quart, a dipstick, a white rag. There is no secret pill here. There is no banned miracle chemical the oil companies buried in 1973. Anybody promising you a $1 tablet that transforms your vehicle is selling you a story, and you deserve better than a story. What there is a working component sitting in your vehicle right now, quietly dying, that everybody involved quietly agreed not to mention, because there was no money in mentioning it, and a single word, lifetime, that never once meant what you thought it meant. So go out to the driveway tonight and pull that dipstick. Then, come back and tell me in the comments what color it came out, red, brown, or black. I read them, and I want to see how many people are driving around on black fluid right now who were never told a thing. And if you already knew this, if you're a mechanic, a fleet guy, a transmission tech, get down in those comments and back me up, because the people watching this need to hear it from more than one man. If this handed you back something worth having, subscribe and stand with the people digging the old knowledge back up, because next time I'm showing you the 7 things quietly destroying your engine that nobody at the dealership will ever mention. And the first one is something almost every single person watching this does every single morning without ever thinking about it.